this is a lot of Vivek hate. MAGA has basically turned their backs on Vivek, and I'm pretty sure that if you were to ask any one of them why, they would just answer, well, he turned his back on us first. Elon and Vivek are heavily in favor of the H-1B system. So if you remember a while back, Vivek wrote this scathing message to the American public and to the American culture. He didn't use the exact words, but in a nutshell, he was calling people dumb and lazy. Damn! And the reason for him actually lashing out is I believe firmly that Vivek thinks that he is more patriotic than most Americans, if not all Americans. Specifically, Vivek and Elon, they got into it with a bunch of people on Twitter because while they are in support of H-1B visas, a lot of MAGA are not. And the reason being is because they were advocating for bringing in foreign workers to do work that domestic employees could do. And so they have this long, drawn-out back and forth going on because Elon is very much in the sense that if he can get the type of people that he wants to get to code in the way that he wants to code, especially in the way that he's trying to get into the AI situation, then it's money for him, cheaper labor for long hours. Vivek, very much the exact same thing, all the while taking into consideration that the people that they would be bringing in are mainly from his culture. So with that said, you know he's an advocate because he considers these people to work much harder than the average American. He even said it himself. He was giving a long spat as to why tech companies decided they want to choose foreign workers over domestic.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
In a nutshell, stating that it's not because of an IQ deficiency, it's mainly because of the C word, as he says. It's culture.
Because you have stupid MAGA brain.
And I know you guys have already heard this part already, where they celebrate the prom queen instead of the math Olympiad, or the jock over the valedictorian. And then, of course, everyone did the math when he was referring to culture. He said your culture celebrates Corey from Boy Meets World or Zack and Slater from Saved by the Bell. And then the one that got me, because this was very personal for me, where he said that you also celebrate Stefan instead of Steve.
No, it's not.
Actually, it's the other way around. Everyone's favorite character in Family Matters, you know this, was Steve. And then, of course, before anyone could tell him, Vivek, stop while you're ahead. He says, fact, I know multiple sets of immigrant parents in the 90s who actively limited how much their kids could watch those TV shows precisely because they promoted mediocrity. And their kids went on to become wildly successful STEM graduates.
Now he's a philosophizer.
Everyone heard that, did the math, no pun intended, and came up with the equation that basically said that Americans glorified Zack and Slater, Stefan, or Corey, and that's what brings about mediocrity. In short, you just called all Americans mediocre. Without even needing to state the obvious, the reaction that you expect is exactly what he got. Pushback.
There was no other way.
Since then, he quit Doge and has been kind of quiet. But they had the Super Bowl happening in New Orleans, and guess who decided that they were going to make an appearance? Come up from studying as it was. Vivek made it known to the whole world that him and his lovely wife were here to watch some good old brain-dead American culture. They just landed in New Orleans on the beautiful day for the Super Bowl. Oh, when he showed up to the Super Bowl, you know that he thought in his mind he's going to get a lot of praise because he's showing up to be a part of the culture. Trump is there, MAGA, it's football, guys, testosterone. He's going to fit in with the guys. He's going to have a little moment, drink a beer.
You just don't get it, do you? You don't.
Oh, and the reaction he got, you could see it right above my head. You have people calling him out saying that so being the quarterback in high school is something Americans should celebrate now. Or a cold one. Shouldn't you be at a spelling bee or a model UN? Now those for the most part are what you would call the nice comments. It didn't stop there. One guy said, swapped out the pic of the private jet you rode in on for this country nature background. I get it. Why don't you tell us more about your H-1B visa thoughts? Let's see if how the Super Bowl crowds react. You're as fake as a $3 bill. Another person, everything about you is so fake and icky. And then we get into the personal stereotypical attacks, which is, watch out for the incoming smell.
Oh, shit.
Oh, and there's so much more. Hundreds of messages all sounding the exact same. I wonder if he knows that the right way to play this is you need to lay low longer. Or did you really think that you were on the in crowd? Vivek, I know you're trying hard to be, but you're not white.
I would love to lead Ohio as a state of excellence, economic excellence and educational excellence. Take the Department of Education, dismantle the Department of Education, dismantle a lot of these regulatory agencies. My advice has always been kick it to the states. That's what our founding fathers envisioned. Part of our model was we want states competing with one another. Competition breeds innovation. I want Ohio to be the best version of itself, actually. I mean, what Silicon Valley was to the American economy for the last 20 years, I think Ohio, the Ohio River Valley can be for the next 20, it's not going to be through bits. That's Silicon Valley's model, but what I call through atoms, through production of stuff, of actual tangible things that we require in the defense industry. And you look at building up our defense industrial base, aerospace innovation. One of the things we don't have in this country right now is merit-based pay for teachers. Let's talk about the next 20 years. I think what we want is a generation of Americans who's actually equipped to compete. At the end of the day, China isn't looking the other way and giving us some sort of participation trophy at the end of it for complaining. We can't be victims. We got to be victorious. And I do think that lighting a fire under the feet of our educational system to prioritize achievement in math, reading, writing, critical thinking, physical fitness, by the way, I think that we've gone soft on this. Actually, even think about knowing about the United States. I love how many American flags you have in this room. Most kids today who graduate from high school can't even pass the same civics exam that we require of a legal immigrant before they become a citizen.
Don't forget that as American as you are, Vivek thinks he's more American than you.
Identity. I get uncomfortable with American nationalism. So I want to know what you mean
interesting.
by that.
See, so one of the reasons I'm in this race is I actually do call myself an American nationalist, but I don't think nationalist has to be a bad word. Because in other countries and cultures for most of human history, being a nationalist meant you identified with an ethnicity or a language or a monarch. But in the American context, I think it's a commitment just to a set of ideals that were enshrined in the Constitution that actually unite us across our diversity and differences.
He's just forgetting that one little thing. Vivek, you're not white.
My entire high school career. But now when we're finally crossing the finish line, I wish I could have stopped just a little earlier and caught a breath of the fresh air that had surrounded me the whole time. Teachers, staff, classmates, counselors, and friends, I'd like to welcome you to the 2003 St. X graduation ceremony. And most of all, to the fellow class of 2003, we are finally here. We are finally here. Yeah, I guess we finally are here. But the last question facing us tonight is what this really means.
I think the disconnect is that young people don't even know the facts about our country's history. I believe that every high school student who graduates from high school should have to pass the same civics test that immigrants to this country, my mother had to pass when she became a naturalized citizen, that other naturalized citizens have to pass to know something about a country. Young people don't value a country that they just inherit. They value a country that they have a stake in building.
That's all I got for now. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like, and I will see you again on the next one. Be easy, y'all. He's just forgetting that one little thing. Vivek, you're not white.